Well, I was raised in a home where brought up to believe in God, and I always did. And uh, around my junior year in high school, I think, is when I was invited to play some basketball with a good friend of mine. And I loved playing ball. So I said, sure, I'd love to play. It's a league. He said, there's just one catch. You need to come to a meeting once a week where we get together and just go over some things, have some games, have some fun times. And I love to play basketball so much, I agreed to go. And I had seen his life changing for the better, and never asked him why, or he never explained why, but I had seen a change in his life. And I would go to those meetings, and they were sponsored by an organization called Youth for Christ, and it was called Campus Life Ministry. And we would go there and have fun and games. And one year, I remember it was March of my junior year, we had what's called an all-club meeting, where all the different Campus Life clubs from different high schools in the area got together. We met at Wilson High School, and again, we had fun, games, socialized, did some things like that. But the meeting was wrapped up by the Youth for Christ director of Youngstown. His name was Carl Magnuson. He gave a talk, and he kind of narrowed the talk down at the very end. And he said, if anyone would like to have Jesus come and live in their hearts, to raise their hand. And I mean, I thought, who wouldn't want that? I was a good kid. I believed in doing the right things all my life. And so I raised my hand. And around the same time of my life, another good friend of mine, we went out for coffee quite often and just talked and had a good time. And one night he was talking to me about, hey, Doug, you're just such a nice kid, such a good kid. You always seem to do the right things. You know, no drinking and smoking and partying and stuff like that. And I was starting to feel kind of puffed up inside. I remember feeling that way, thinking, yeah, you know, I'm hoping that the good things I do in life are going to outweigh the bad things, because maybe then God would look with favor on me and let me come into heaven. So I'm all feeling good about that. And he says, you know what, though? None of that means a thing unless you have Jesus living in your life and in your heart. And I thought, wow. I mean, that took me back, and I thought, wow, I wonder exactly what that means. And so it was all happening around that same time in my life, and I started praying. I remember praying, God, if you're really there, and I just really want to get to know you, confirm that with me and let me know. And you know, as I was going to church and I would be praying, that I would start hearing answers to my prayers. And I thought, that's just not a coincidence. I just really felt His presence in my life, and it's starting to do a work in my life. And I started attending church really for the first time, excited to go instead of having to go, feeling that if I went, it would add to my good things. So, and I also started going to some evening Bible studies where other groups of friends and people were studying the Bible more, and I never did that. I started to read the Bible, and for the first time, I believe God's Spirit in my heart was starting to help me understand it. And so I began to realize that I had the cart before the horse. I was trying to do good things in my life to earn my way into heaven. And through prayer and reading the Bible and talking to other people, I found out and that I had it just backwards. That I needed to be doing the good things in my life because God loved me so much, that He created me to do good works. In fact, one of my favorite verses in the Bible is Ephesians 2, 8 through 10. And just to paraphrase it, it's you can't come to heaven because of the good works you do, because then that would give you a right to boast about it, and that would be very prideful. So it's a free gift from God, this eternal life through Jesus Christ, and it was His work on the cross and His shedding of the blood that paid for my sins and that got me into heaven. And I do good works now because it says that we're God's workmanship, created to do good works that He designed for us to do. So I'm just thankful that long ago I made that decision to follow Jesus, and it's been a wonderful walk ever since, and it's not finished yet.